snippets from across India of the vibrant festival of Ganesh Chaturthi, celebrating the birthday of popular Hindu deity Ganesha. We will have more on this story later on in the show. Hello there, you are watching Inside South Asia with me, Dasuni Athauda, and let's get started. On to our top story, India's democracy turned a symbolic page as the country's elected members officially moved to a new parliament. The old parliament, which was constructed by the British colonial rulers, now makes way for an iconic building in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi has now stated as a way for a new and aspirational India. Here's more.
Long years ago, we made a tryst with destiny, and now the time comes when we shall redeem our pledge.
At the stroke of the midnight hour, the 15th of August 1947, we move from the old to the new, said independent India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. This was the Central Hall of Parliament, now the old structure that will be a heritage complex named Constitution House. "75 years on, the last joint session in the Central Hall of Parliament, where so much of Indian history has been written and made down the decades. A centre of debate and dispute and enthusiasm, as PM Modi put it.
इसी सदन में मतदान की उम्र 21 से 18 करने का निर्णय हुआ था और देश की युवा पीढ़ी को इसका योगदान देने के लिए प्रेरित किया गया, उत्साहित किया गया था। सबका साथ, सबका विकास का मंत्र, अनेक ऐतिहासिक निर्णय, दशकों से लंबित विषय, उनका स्थायी समाधान भी इसी सदन में हुआ।
A journey of development and overcoming massive challenges. Images of India's leaders, people who guided the country's destiny, come to mind. Alongside images of terror that had threatened the structure in 2001. The final session in the old address for Indian democracy was about looking ahead to a new, developed India.
आज नए संसद भवन में हम सब मिलकर के नए भविष्य का श्री गणेश करने जा रहे हैं। आज हम यहाँ विकसित भारत का संकल्प दोहराना, फिर एक बार संकल्पबद्ध होना और उसको परिपूर्ण करने के लिए जी जान से जुटने के इरादे से नए भवन की तरफ प्रस्थान कर रहे हैं।
And then history in the making. That walk by 540 odd members from the old parliament to the new building was symbolic at every level. Jawaharlal Nehru's old to the new comes back to life. The new address for Indian democracy, the triangular-shaped state-of-the-art new parliament building, extends over 64,500 square meters. Its Lok Sabha chamber has space for 888 representatives as against the present 545. For joint sessions, this chamber can accommodate up to 1,272 seats, taking into account the possibilities for future delimitation exercises. Cutting-edge technology used in the construction pays homage to India's rich architectural heritage. Offices and lounges have ultra-modern amenities, setting the new Parliament House at par with the best in the world. Appropriately enough, perhaps, the first bill to be tabled in the new Parliament House is the landmark Women's Reservation Bill that reserves 33% of seats in Parliament for women, a legislation that many consider long overdue.
इस विधेयक का लक्ष्य लोकसभा और विधानसभाओं में महिलाओं की भागीदारी का विस्तार करने का है। नारी शक्ति बंधन अधिनियम
At multiple levels, accommodation needs to the modern tech facilities offered to the symbolism. This move to a new Parliament House is claimed to hail the dawn of a new India. Indian democracy has a brand new address.
It's been 2 years since the Taliban restricted schoolgirls from receiving an education beyond 6th grade. And a report now suggests that Afghanistan is the only country with restrictions on female education. But what has the world done about this? Has the United Nations and the world leaders failed the women of Afghanistan who continue to reel daily under archaic diktats that have been put in place by the Taliban?
In Afghanistan, a staggering 70% of the population needs humanitarian assistance, with the rights of women and girls systematically denied.
These words of United Nations General Secretary Antonio Guterres echoed at the opening of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly held in New York. The rights of Afghan women and children are high on the UNGA agenda this year. But the question remains, how much is really happening on the ground? How much is just lip service? It's been a string of patriarchal and misogynist Taliban diktats in Afghanistan since the group grabbed power in 2021, and it's done under the garb of interpreting Islamic law. Girls and women are barred from higher education. Public spaces like parks are out of bounds for them. They're even forbidden from earning a livelihood. Case in point, the shutting down of beauty salons. Perhaps the most shocking was this. Girls' education beyond 6th grade stopped, and no rules for males. The UN Children's Agency says over 1 million girls are affected by the ban. It triggered global condemnation and remains the Taliban's biggest hurdle in gaining recognition as the legitimate rulers of Afghanistan. The Taliban's perspective on girls' education partly comes from a specific school of 19th century Islamic thought, and partly from rural areas where tribalism is entrenched. Women's rights activist and analyst Meena Mumtaz said the ban on girls' higher education has sparked a growing number of early or forced marriages in the families.
The ban on higher education for girls has changed the mindset of some families. They believe now that their daughter can't study anymore, it is better for them to get married, which has sparked the growing number of early marriages.
Voices of human rights are being brutally suppressed. Meet these women from Afghanistan who are living in the hope that one day they will be able to go back to study.
I was in 10th grade when I heard that I could no longer go to school. I was very upset that day. This is my uniform, which I still have. I just hope that the schools are open again so I can put on my uniform and go back to school.
These words should be heard by all the world leaders who assembled at the United Nations General Assembly and should come up with an immediate solution to end this nightmare. Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, during his address to the United Nations General Assembly in New York, said that his country continues to coordinate international efforts in Afghanistan and appealed everyone to help towards betterment of women trapped in the country.
We continue to coordinate international efforts and facilitate dialogue with the United Nations and the countries concerned. in addition to the caretaker government of Afghanistan to ensure compliance to the Doha Agreement, to avoid the reoccurrence of past mistakes and to prevent Afghanistan from spiraling into a difficult-to-manage humanitarian crisis or becoming a safe haven for terrorist individuals and groups. We also have to work to ensure that the Afghan people receive the needed international support and assistance and enjoy human rights, particularly minority rights and women's rights to education and work.
In May, the Qatari Prime Minister held secret talks with the Supreme Leader of the Taliban, an effort to resolve its tensions with the international community, signaling a new willingness by Afghanistan's rulers to discuss ways to end their isolation. Yet, the fact remains, the Taliban is not stopping with the implementation of their vision of Sharia. They are not backing down easily. Sanctions, frozen assets, the lack of official recognition, and widespread condemnation have made little difference. At the same time, there is a desire within Afghanistan for the Taliban to have some kind of international acceptance, even if it's not recognition, so the economy can reboot itself. On the rights issue, there's big talk and tall language. Any breakthrough remains as remote as ever.
The Taliban Public Relations Department released this video on how to revive the country's economy. Wrote, "Visit the magnificent nation of Afghanistan, the real land of the free and the home of the brave, unlike the Americans, a rugged country inhabited by muscular men and traditional women. You will be 100% safe since the war is over and we no longer capture tourists for ransom." Moreover, days after promoting Afghan tourism, the Taliban detained staffers of a non-governmental organization that included a foreigner. They were prosecuted for promoting Christianity. Shocking, isn't it? Moving on to Pakistan and on a lighter vein. One of the Asian subcontinent's most enduring sporting legacies has been the game of Kabaddi. Once played on rural fields and on soft mud, is now being played on world-class indoor stadiums and on state-of-the-art mats. As the 2023 Asian Games approach, the competition between the teams have peaked. This traditional sport is a big medal winner. Here's more.
Sound strategy, deep discipline, high standards of physical fitness. Every bit matters here on the Kabaddi pitch. We're at a Kabaddi festival in Pakistan's Punjab province, where traditional drum beats and resounding war cries add to the magic. The spectators' cheers, the raiders' cries, the defenders' tackles create a symphony of emotions that resonate with the rich sporting history of the region.
This type of Kabaddi is native to this place. This festival takes place once a year. 2 villages buy their players and have a competition. Then the village that wins celebrates their victory all year round, and this keeps the spirit of Kabaddi alive.
The sport is central to many a rural festival across India and Pakistan and Bangladesh. The original warrior game, with its raw signature earthiness, said to originate in ancient Indian scriptures, transcends present-day political borders of South Asia.
Kabaddi is in our blood in Punjab, India, Pakistan and Sri Lanka. It is a game of soil and dust. It is the most popular game in this region.
Like much else, Kabaddi too has embraced modernity. As part of international events, Kabaddi has adopted standardized rules and regulations, made itself more accessible and exciting for fans worldwide. The first set of written rules for Kabaddi in India were introduced in 1918. The sport was first demonstrated at the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin. The first ever Asian Kabaddi Championship came in 1980, and it was included in the Asian Games 10 years later. The first standard Kabaddi World Cup happened in 2004, and the Pro Kabaddi League took off in India in 2014. Few sports have undergone the kind of transformation Kabaddi has seen over the decades. Making formats and telecasts more and more captivating has been key. Pakistan's national Kabaddi team is gearing up for a monumental journey to the 19th Asian Games in Hangzhou, China.
There are 4 kinds of Kabaddi. One is circle style, that is play 1-to-1 and in open level play field. Even on grassy ground, sometimes very soft ground, which is easily available in the remote areas of Pakistan. Second is this kind of game. This is a standard style, you can say Asian style. Third one is indoor style, and fourth one is beach style.
The 2023 Asian Games starting later this week will see the biggest Kabaddi warriors compete against the best in Asia. For South Asia, Kabaddi is a cultural phenomenon that bridges a gap between tradition and modernity. Geopolitics of the day definitely takes a backseat.
Up next is good news from the Kingdom of Bhutan. The Himalayan country has reported a 39.5% increase in the country's snow leopard numbers. Take a look at this next report.
They are known as the most elusive cats in the world, and with their thick fur skin live 3,000 meters above sea level. The snow leopard is an apex predator. The world today has only 4,000 to 6,000 of these cats. And Bhutan has reached a new milestone in snow leopard conservation with a 40% increase in its population since 2016. According to the National Snow Leopard Survey, at present the country has 134 snow leopards. Bhutan in Asia is one of the countries that harbors a significant proportion of its population. Leopards face serious habitat loss due to the human encroachment, fraud, poaching, and retaliatory killings. At the same time, without human settlements, leopards could face a threat of inbreeding. The snow leopard's habitat spread over 2 million square kilometers across mountains in the Himalayas and Central Asia, spanning 12 countries. Bhutan is one of them. With a total range that covers an area of close to 772,204 square miles, 60% of the habitat is found in China. However, more than 70% of the snow leopard habitat remains unexplored. Bhutan's latest attempts at conservation are a positive step towards increasing the number of snow leopards in the world.
And now it's time to get into the festive spirit of Ganesh Chaturthi. The 10-day celebration began in India, and let's show you how it's being celebrated.
आज आप देख रहे हैं बड़ा बहुत माहौल है। 4 दिनों से हम देख रहे हैं हर साल के ज़्यादा दुगनी गर्दी अभी रास्ते में है।
गणेश चतुर्थी only for people here in India, but across the world. And here we are to celebrate the 69th year of the GSB Mandal, which is located in India's financial capital city, Mumbai. And here you can see right behind us the iconic idol.
बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है। गणेश चतुर्थी में हमारा मनोकामना ये है कि विश्व शांति रहे, सब कुछ ठीक ठाक रहे, कोई झगड़ा झगड़ विवाद नहीं होना चाहिए।
That's all we have on our show this week. Before we leave, take a look at these nostalgic moments of one of the most iconic modes of transport in Mumbai, the iconic double-decker bus that retired after 8 decades of service. Take a look while I take a leave. See you next week. For the WION team, I'm Dasuni Athauda.